Hi, and this is Mike Garner from MrMikeGarner.com, witnessing the world, and this is the first of a series of broadcasts making observations. First observation is, here I am, all wrapped up on the Cayley Promenade in North Wales, in the UK, Roche-on-Sea to be accurate. A place where I've lived since, let me just work this out, 1988. Holidayed here for many years, man and boy, and moved over here with my job as an AA patrolman. Worked in all weathers, always been amazed that it only takes about half an inch of snow for the country to come to a standstill. Worked over in Germany many times and they get heavy snowfall and they all cope with it. Most countries prepare, governments and councils prepare, and people prepare, take responsibility. But here we all seem to be took by surprise every year when it snows in winter. It's such a basic, guaranteed thing that's going to happen, and it's going to get cold in winter. You're going to get leaves on the railways and the roads in autumn, and yet the trains stop because of leaves on the line, which is another joke really, but you have to laugh at it. I'm a massive believer in witnessing and not allowing these things to take your peace of mind or control your emotions negatively. So this series of broadcasts, presentations from me, are not really judgment, they're just comment, just witnessing. I stay where I am within myself, in this vehicle, my body, that you know as Mike Garner, and I view the world and consider, contemplate, witness. I've just driven over from Manchester this morning, having seen a really good old friend of mine, Alan Henson, who I went to school with, and I also met up with a pal of mine, Ian Radcliffe, that I went to primary school with also, who is now living in Marbella. And as you know, currently I'm residing in Thailand, but I'm over here to see family, my son and daughter, and the reason I'm here predominantly is to see my new granddaughter called Amber. And I'm just wondering what sort of world Amber's going to be recognising, witnessing. Crazy world it is at the moment, and these presentations that I'm going to be making are going to comment on that craziness with humour. I'm going to make some deep observations, some meaningful observations. Well, they're meaningful to me. Whatever you make of them is up to you. But I think one of the things I want to say right at the beginning of these presentations, and probably I'll reiterate most of the times I make presentations, is that we're here to contribute, to have a wonderful life, and to help people. We're here to advance consciousness, and quite a lot of the things I see witness in the world at the moment are destroying consciousness. They're dumbing it down. They're destroying society, the world, the universe, and we seem to be de-evolving. We seem to get to a point in our evolution where things were going really well. In the last 20, 30 years, I really question where we're going as a society, as a civilization, as a world. Driving from Manchester this morning, the temperature here, just checking on my car, is 4 degrees. It was 0 coming over the Holywell bypass, which is the high parts of the A55 between Chester and North Wales. When I left Burnage this morning, which is a place I used to live, and I left Alan's house, it was -1. I mean, these are cold temperatures, but they're not extreme. They would be extreme if they were -5, -7, -10. We should be able to cope with these conditions. We should know what to do. Yet I witness slush on the roads. Gritters were out, but not really adequate. But the point I'm making is that people were blasting past me 60, 70, 80 miles an hour. through the slush, and it's a no-brainer that there was going to be accidents, and I saw 2 cars spun on the M56 and one on the A55, and probably far more to come, and God bless those people. Didn't seem to be any fatalities, but you know, when you smash your car up and you have an impact, it's an assault on your body, it's trauma. And I just wonder what's in people's mindsets, that they don't realise that when you're driving into slush and ice, that you lose traction and your car's going to spin. I can only assume that they're not thinking clearly, and it's rather as if they've got a death wish, or they're ignorant of the danger. They can't be ignorant. There's so much information about driving carefully, and there's warnings to go 30, 40, 50 miles an hour, and check your tyres and have your lights on, and make sure that you wipe a bottle, your washer bottle is topped up. And yet you see people with dirty windscreens, clearly they've run out of water. And in this country, very few people have winter tyres, or put chains on, or are prepared with the vehicles. And I just wonder what's going on in people's minds when they don't take responsibility and then they do crash. And it happens quite a lot for people emotionally. They emotionally crash because they're not equipped. They physically crash because they don't look after themselves. Rather than having a death wish, I would encourage people to have a life wish, that everything that they do should be manoeuvred towards living as long as possible, as happily and as abundantly and as successful as possible, and to help other people do the same. Because these people blasting down the second and third lane of the M56 this morning and A55 through the slush are not only putting themselves at risk, but they're putting everybody else at risk, because when they spin, they're out of control, they can hit anybody. They've probably got passengers. So it's rather glib and irresponsible and unfair of them to do that, and yet you see it, I see it. We see it in many other walks of life as well, don't we? Where people don't take responsibility for their finances, work all their lives possibly. At the end of the life, no savings, rely on the state, benefits. They don't look after the bodies, so they rely on they overwhelm the National Health Service. They smoke, they overeat, they don't exercise, and so people need all sorts of expensive surgeries and procedures and care, rather than taking responsibility now before these things happen, saving now so that they've got provisions in their senior years. And it's not just the fact that they're overwhelming the system, which I'm not a great proponent. I don't support the system myself by principle, because it's divisive, but this is the system, and if you overwhelm it, it breaks down, and that's another subject. But they become a worry and a burden to everybody else that loves them. You know, their partners, friends, work colleagues, children, grandchildren. Those people who rely on you to be there, and you're blasting down the second and third lane of the M56, putting your life at risk and everybody else, or you're eating yourself into obesity and diabetes and possible cancer. Now, far from me making this broadcast to be a grumpy old man, it's of no consequence to me. And that doesn't mean I don't care and I don't love these people. I do. I send them love, I send them healing, and I'm here offering free advice, and I always will. And I take my own advice, and I always will. I take responsibility for my mental life, my emotional life, my physical life, and my future, and my spiritual life. Because I have a life wish, not a death wish. And as I look round at things that are going on in the world, Brexit at the moment, the Donald Trump situation with statements he's made about Palestine and Jerusalem. Kim Jong-un from Korea. It just seems to be so volatile. It's like everybody's making extreme statements, extreme behaviours, which creates extreme reactions. I'm for happiness, peace and love, balance. And here I am now on the Cayley Promenade in North Wales, and I'm back having been to Manchester safely. I set off early because I took responsibility to get here safe. I drove carefully, and this weekend I'm going to see friends and family, stay warm. I'm just going to be happy. I'm going to be at peace. I'm going to stay healthy. I'm going to continue to witness the craziness, the madness that is the world that we now live in. And it's December 2017. As my granddaughter grows up, Amber, and my other granddaughter, Alicia, who is now in the school system, and as I witness things in a world that they're growing up in, I wonder where it's going, what it's all about, and I have an idea, and I'm going to continue to witness and share my ideas with you as we go through the weeks and months ahead. Now, yes, I'm going to be between here in the UK, wherever I go to in Europe, and Thailand. So I think you're going to find, as I will, that this is an interesting series of observations, witnessing the world with me, Mike Garner, and I hope you've enjoyed this. Listen to it with good humour, because I'm saying it with good humour, fascination, interest, and sometimes disbelief. But the world is crazy. But you're not and I'm not. And let's witness it and enjoy it. God bless.